Hi guys, and today we will be counting down the top 15 must-read book series. So without further ado, let's start, and be sure to subscribe if you like the video and comment if you think we left out some series. At number 15 is the Song of Ice and Fire series by George R. R. Martin. A Song of Ice and Fire takes place in a fictional world in which seasons last for years and end unpredictably. Nearly 3 centuries before the events of the first novel, see backstory, the 7 kingdoms of Westeros were united under the Targaryen dynasty by Aegon I and his sisters Visenya and Rhys, with Aegon Targaryen becoming the first king of the whole of the continent of Westeros, save for the southerly door. At the beginning of A Game of Thrones, 15 peaceful summer years have passed since the rebellion led by Robert Baratheon deposed and killed the last Targaryen king, Aerys II, and proclaimed Robert king of the 7 kingdoms. At number 14 is the Lord of the Rings series by J.R.R. Tolkien. The Lord of the Rings is an epic high fantasy novel written by English author J.R.R. Tolkien. The story began as a sequel to Tolkien's 1937 fantasy novel The Hobbit, but eventually developed into a much larger work. Written in stages between 1937 and 1949, The Lord of the Rings is one of the best-selling novels ever written, with over 150 million copies sold. The title of the novel refers to the story's main antagonist, the Dark Lord Sauron, who had in an earlier age created the One Ring to rule the other rings of power as the ultimate weapon in his campaign to conquer and rule all of Middle-earth. Next at number 13 is the Hex Hall Trilogy. Hex Hall is a best-selling trilogy of young adult paranormal romance novels by American author Rachel Hawkins. The trilogy is centered on Sophie Mercer, a 16-year-old witch who is sent to Hecate Hall, nicknamed Hex Hall, a boarding school for magical beings, after a string of disastrous spells gone wrong. While there, she gets caught up in the ongoing war between the Prodigium and the human organizations who seek to eradicate them from the world. At number 12 is the Lunar Chronicles. The Lunar Chronicles is a tetralogy of young adult fantasy novels written by American author Marissa Meyer. Each book entails a new take on an old fairy tale, including Cinderella, Little Red Riding Hood, Rapunzel and Snow White. The story takes place in a futuristic world where humans, cyborgs, androids, and a race of moon colonists all coexist. Next at number 11 is Throne of Glass series by Sarah J. Maas. Throne of Glass is a young adult high fantasy novel series by American author Sarah J. Maas, beginning with the inaugural entry of the same name. Partly inspired by Cinderella, the story follows the journey of Celia Sardothi, a teenage assassin in a corrupted kingdom with a tyrannical ruler. As the tale progresses, Celia forms unexpected bonds, and uncovers a conspiracy amidst her adventures. The series has appeared on the New York Times bestseller list. It has been optioned for a TV series by Mark Gordon and will premiere on Hulu. Next on number 10 is Percy Jackson and the Olympians. Percy Jackson and the Olympians, often shortened to Percy Jackson, is a petalogy of adventure and mythological fiction books written by American author Rick Riordan. 5 supplementary books, along with 3 graphic novels, have also been released. More than 45 million copies of the books have been sold in more than 35 countries. As of October 28, 2011, the series has been on the New York Times bestseller list for children's book series for 223 weeks. The first book was adapted into a film titled Percy Jackson and the Olympians, The Lightning Thief in 2010, which was commercially successful, but received mixed reviews. An adaptation of the second book, titled Percy Jackson, Sea of Monsters, was released in 2013. At number 9 is Artemis Fowl by E.O. Colfer. A teenage genius, Artemis captures Holly Short, who is a fairy and a captain of the Elite Rico, Lower Elements Police Rico, in the first book and holds her for ransom to exploit the magical fairy people and restore his family's fortune. In the sequel, Artemis Fowl, The Arctic Incident, he allies with the fairies to rescue his father from the Russian mafia. The series introduces Artemis as an anti-hero and the fairies' enemy, but as the series progresses, he assists the fairies in resolving conflicts with worldwide ramifications, with Artemis's character developing and changing throughout the chronology. The series concluded with Artemis Fowl, The Last Guardian, released July 2012. Next at number 8 is His Dark Materials. His Dark Materials is an epic trilogy of fantasy novels by Philip Pullman consisting of Northern Lights, 1995, published as The Golden Compass in North America, The Subtle Knife, 1997, and The Amber Spyglass, 2000. It follows the coming of age of 2 children, Lyra Belacqua and Will Parry, as they wander through a series of parallel universes. The three novels have won a number of awards, most notably the 2001 Whitbread Book of the Year Prize, won by the Amber Spyglass. Northern Lights won the Carnegie Medal for Children's Fiction in the UK in 1995. The trilogy took third place in the BBC's Big Read poll in 2003. At number 7 is The Mortal Instruments by Cassandra Clare. The book series has become one of the most popular within the young adult genre of paranormal romance/urban fantasy, but Clare did not originally intend to write the series for teens. When she began writing City of Bones, she did not view it as a young adult work, but first and foremost as a fantasy novel, where the main characters just happened to be teenagers. When she was approached by a publisher interested in aging up her characters, she ultimately decided that she wanted to tell a story about characters at that crucial life stage just between adolescence and adulthood, where your choices determine the kind of person you're going to be rather than reflecting who you already are. Number 6 on the list is The Infernal Devices, also by Cassandra Clare. He series is a prequel series to the Mortal Instruments series, and contains some of the characters' ancestors. Clare has insisted that the two series can be read in either order. The series follows Tessa Gray, an orphaned teenage girl who discovers she has the power to shapeshift, but doesn't bear a mark that shows she is a warlock. She is forced to learn how to control this newly established power and navigate the new world she was forcefully introduced into. The series follows Tessa's life as she is forced to collaborate with the Shadowhunters in order to protect herself, her family, and her loved ones. Number 5. On our list is the Sherlock Holmes series. Sherlock Holmes is a fictional private detective created by British author Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. Known as a consulting detective in the stories, Holmes is known for a proficiency with observation, forensic science, and logical reasoning that borders on the fantastic, which he employs when investigating cases for a wide variety of clients, including Scotland Yard. Number 4 on our list is The Hunger Games trilogy by Suzanne Collins. The trilogy's narrator and protagonist Katniss Everdeen lives in District 12. The poorest region of Peam, located in Appalachia, where people regularly die of starvation. As punishment for a past rebellion against the capital, called the Dark Days, in which District 13 was supposedly destroyed, one boy and one girl from each of the 12 remaining districts, between the ages of 12 and 18, are selected by lottery to compete in an annual pageant called the Hunger Games. The games are a televised event in which the participants, called tributes, are forced to fight to the death in a dangerous public arena. The winning tribute and his /her home district are then rewarded with food, supplies, and riches. The purposes of the Hunger Games are to provide entertainment for the capital and to remind the districts of the capital's power and lack of remorse, forgetfulness and forgiveness for the failed rebellion of the current competitors' ancestors. Next at number 3 is the Divergent Trilogy by Veronica Roth. The trilogy consists of Divergent, 2011, Insurgent, 2012, and Allegiant, 2013. A related book, 4, presents a series of short stories told from the perspective of one of the trilogy's characters. The society of the trilogy defines its citizens by their social and personality-related affiliation with 5 different factions, which removes the threat of anyone exercising independent will and threatening the population's safety. Beatrice Pryor, who later changes her name to Triss, an abnegation-born and dauntless transfer, must figure out her life as a divergent, while concealing her true nature, and living with the danger of being killed if it is discovered by the erudite and dauntless leaders. Number 2 is the Robert Lagdo series by Dan Brown. Robert Lagdo is a fictional protagonist of a series of novels, novellas and short stories by American author Dan Brown. A Harvard University professor of religious iconology and symbology, a fictional field related to the study of historic symbols, which is not methodologically connected to the actual discipline of semiotics. Brown's novels that feature the lead character Robert Lagdo also include historical themes and Christianity as motifs, and as a result, have generated controversy. Brown states on his website that his books are not anti-Christian, though he is on a constant spiritual journey himself, and says that his book The Device I Code is simply an entertaining story that promotes spiritual discussion and debate and suggests that the book may be used as a positive catalyst for introspection and exploration of our faith. At last at number 1 is the Harry Potter series by J.K. Rowling. Harry Potter is a series of fantasy novels written by British author J.K. Rowling. The novels chronicle the life of a young wizard, Harry Potter, and his friends Hermione Granger and Ron Weasley, all of whom are students at Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry. The main story arc concerns Harry's struggle against Lord Voldemort, a dark wizard who intends to become immortal, overthrow the wizard governing body known as the Ministry of Magic, and subjugate all wizards and muggles, a reference term that means non-magical people.
Thanks you guys for watching this video, and be sure to subscribe, like and share.